I have a confession to make. I'm addicted to keeping my stuff safe. And the proof of that is all of my Nanuk cases. On this channel, about a year ago, I started extensively testing hard cases. I'm somebody that owns a lot of video gear, a lot of drones, a lot of computers, and I also travel a lot and put myself in sticky situations. And so I was looking for the ultimate case that could keep all my stuff safe, and I landed on Nanuk. Since I started testing the cases, I've gotten more and more requests to elaborate more on the said cases. So I figured, since we're all stuck at home and we have nothing better to do, now's the time to make that video, and that's what I intend to do here and now. Full disclosure, some people will think this video is an ad, and maybe it is. You know, if you're one of those people, just know that I'll be talking exclusively about a specific brand in this video, and this video thus might not be for you. On the other hand, if you're somebody that's looking for a solution for keeping your stuff safe, then stick around, because this might be up your alley. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to position these cases in such a way that you'll be able to see exactly what's in them, how I've set them up, how I use them, and then we'll just roll. And in this video, we are going to address the Nanuk 933, the 985, the 923, the 905, 940, 995, 920, and 910. All right, let's roll. So these two cases, they started it all. This is the Nanuk 920. This is a media series case that is designed for the DJI Mavic Pro Drone version 1. And right next to it, we have the Ronin M gimbal case. This is a two-tiered case. The tiers stack up on each other, and it fits a Ronin M camera gimbal. Today these things aren't actually worth that much. They're like $600-700 on Craigslist, but back in the day they were extremely expensive with all the attachments and things. You could easily pay $2,000 or more. And as a piece of camera equipment, it's actually very fragile. There's lots of moving parts. You don't really want to be knocking this thing around too much. There's a lot that can go wrong. So when I got this thing, it was my baby. I didn't want to damage it in any way, shape, or form. And so I decided that I would invest in a hard case which would protect my camera gimbal. I looked around, I read some reviews, and I eventually found this brand Nanuk that's out of Eastern Canada, and I decided to take a chance. Oh, something's wrong. So this was the first case that I got, and I figured, you know, if you're gonna go big, go real big. So I made a YouTube video about it where I loaded this puppy with the gimbal and I threw it off a really tall pier into the ocean. 3, 2, 1. I took a big risk because I was curious to see, would the case stand up to its reputation? You know, I didn't want to worry about it. If I ever went river rafting, I didn't want to be like, oh, is the case gonna fail? I wanted to just rip the band-aid off right away and make sure that it was flawless so that I never had to think about it again. And while I was at it, I figured people on YouTube might get a kick out of it. So packed this Ronin in the case, threw it off a really tall pier. I swam on it. I bobbed the case underwater, and it performed flawlessly. This gimbal still works great. I'm not gonna go off on too much of a tangent because I have a separate video on this specifically, which I'll link to below if you want to watch it. But this yellow case started it all. It got me hooked on Nanuk. After that, the next piece of equipment that I thought deserved a case was the Mavic Pro Drone. So just like that thing, this thing is very fragile and has a lot of moving parts. And I think the drone itself runs in the $1,500 range, plus all the batteries, all the accessories. You know, when you're rocking 2K at least, it's not really something that you want to mess around with. At least I don't. And so I figured, let's get this drone its own little pocket and then test out if this case can do its job. So I packed everything in the case. Once again, I threw the drone into the ocean. With this one specifically, I wanted to see if I could replicate like a river rafting scenario, because in the past I've been hired to do river rafting shoots, and one of my biggest worries was, how do I transport everything when there's no access to vehicles, no access to, you know, dry bags, or limited access to dry bags? And so I just threw everything in the case, latched the latches, which, by the way, these latches are awesome because they're two-step latches. So you actually have to push this thing down and lift up, and then it locks into place. And why that rocks is because you can't accidentally bump it open. You physically have to push down and lift up, and that's how you unlatch the latches. So just like with the yellow one, I took the orange case, threw it in the ocean, put it under the water numerous times, pulled it out. Spoiler alert, everything was bone dry. The drone flew flawlessly, and this is the exact same drone that I used for that test, and it flies like it did before. So I've been having a lot of fun testing these products. It's kind of high risk, but I do see a lot of value in it, both for myself. It's peace of mind for me. It's also great content because, you know, if somebody is looking at different case comparisons and they see that some Yahoo on the internet actually put it through a real world test and it worked, you know, it's just a wiser way to spend your hard-earned cash. Moving right along, we have an ammo case and a pistol case. This is the 905 ammo case, and right next to it in green we have the 910 double gun case. So right now it's the pandemic, people are buying guns in record numbers, and being a gun owner myself, I think it's very important to be responsible about it, which basically means that you should keep your stuff safe and lock it up when not in use, especially if you have children. I don't have any children of my own. That said, I think it's nice to properly store your ammo so that there's no accidents, you know, in a cool, dry place, locked up. Same thing goes for guns. So right over here you see that this is a relatively small ammo case. It fits about 4 of these 25 round shotgun shell boxes, as well as 500 rounds of 22 LR ammo, and you got a little bit of extra room there to throw another box of ammo or anything else that you need. And for extra protection against moisture, Nanuk makes these little moisture absorbers. So you can basically throw that in, and rest assured that in addition to the case being waterproof, this thing will do its job keep your stuff protected and safe. These cases ship, you know, when you just buy them without any accessories, they just ship with these latches that are dual step. If you want to upgrade, you can also get these lockable latches, which makes them even better because now you have a lock. And so the latches are almost identical, except for the fact that you now have a key. I said you now have a key that locks the latch. Come on. There we go. So now that the latch is locked, you can't press it down, thus you can't open it. And so that keeps your ammo locked up and safe. And you have the option of putting 2 on them. So that is the ammo case in a nutshell. Again, when we get out of quarantine, if there's an interest for it, maybe I'll put those through some serious waterproof tests, because I think it'd be kind of cool to know whether or not you can send your ammo down the river or flood it in a rain or whatever, and see if it's still dry. So if you want to see that video, leave me a comment below and I'll do my best to appease you. Over here, let me grab another thing. We have a pistol case, and we also have, I have a couple different trainer guns. These trainer guns are kind of for martial arts self-defense purposes. They're clearly not real, and basically you use them to try and defend against, you know, if you're getting held up at gunpoint, you can teach yourself and your friends how to get out of those situations. So for the purposes of this demo, I think they work well, and it also shows you that a case like this can accommodate different style guns. Like, for example, I believe this is a Smith & Wesson M2.0 type pistol, and Nanuk has designed this case specifically so that it can accommodate for the widest range of guns. So this M2.0 fits securely in the case. It's not going anywhere. Likewise, you have, I believe this is like a 1911 style gun with fake clips, again for training purposes. And so that same case fits a completely different gun in a very secure fashion. And so, just to kind of give you an idea, we can switch slots and show you that both slots accommodate for different style guns. We also have this Ruger that has an internal hammer, and with a little bit of finesse, you can see that this case can accommodate that style of gun as well. So it's a very versatile case. Once again, it's fully waterproof. I have every intention on testing that later on. You have all kinds of configurations for different style clips. You can store them any which way that you please, sideways or upright. I believe, I don't really know how that goes in, something like that. And again, it's lockable. On this case specifically, you have a slightly different latch. It's basically a smaller version of this. And unfortunately, I don't think you can install a locking latch like this on this specific case, but you do have the option of locking it with another lock. And there's 2 of them. So in effect, this case is still lockable, but with a different lock. And this right here is just like a little silicone attachment. It just helps you not lose this piece. But the locking mechanism itself is just a solid pin that goes into a lock. And if I'm not mistaken, these things are TSA approved, which may not mean much anymore because who the hell's flying anywhere? All right, let's keep going. This right here is the 995 long rifle case. This is the biggest, longest case that I own. It's also the heaviest. So for this, a shoulder strap is almost mandatory because otherwise it's kind of hard to carry. Just take that off for the time being. This case is exactly the same as those, except totally different, by which I mean it has the same great latches. You still have the locking latches. You could put up to 4 locks in this bad boy. And then if you want extra security, you can come over here and put 4 more TSA locks on it. So if you want to go above and beyond with safety, you could put 8 locks on this case. And then nobody will get into it, not even you. On the inside, they have a really cool system, which is a multiple layer of different foam, so as to accommodate the most diverse amount of guns. So it doesn't matter if you have like a little 22 single shooter or a shotgun. This is a Remington 870 Super Magnum. You could just fit them in this case, put the foam over it, seal it up, and you're good to go. It's fully locked down. It's fully waterproof. Your guns are safe. You know, your loved ones are safe. Everybody's happy. The other thing I really like about this case is, say you have 2 shotguns or 2 rifles and a handgun, or a couple handguns, you can literally come over here and fit some more in. And so, I mean, if I may be so crude, it gives you a lot of bang for your buck. That was awful. Very puntastic. But the combinations are endless. That's kind of what I'm getting at. And if you don't like guns, I completely understand and respect that. You don't have to use this case for guns. You can use it for anything else that you want. I don't remember the exact dimensions of this case from memory. I don't remember the prices. So if anybody's interested in those specific details, I'll put all the links in the description below. So once again, if you want prices, if you want case dimensions, I'll leave that to the pros, and you can go in the description below, click on the links, and browse away to your heart's content. Before all this craziness started, before the stay-at-home orders, my friends and I started product testing these cases as well. We threw one in a lake, but our efforts got cut short. Nothing is very definitive yet. You know, preliminary tests were good, but I'd like to do more testing before I can specifically vouch for the waterproofness of this case. So if you want to see more tests, again, let me know in the comments below. So right next to my longest case is my second longest case. This is the 985. And I guess theoretically this is also a gun case, though I'm not using it for that. In this case, I'm storing my bigger production lights. So this case fits beautifully 2 production lights, as well as just some random chargers and things. And one thing I absolutely love is under all of this foam, you have extra room for diffusion and various cucalorises. So this case is very, very functional. It's very well organized. So not only can you keep your lights safe, but you can also do that in a manner which is very easy to use in the field. And not to get too repetitive, but again, you can have locking latches, you can use TSA security locks, and so when you go traveling, or if you just leave your stuff in your vehicle, you can lock it down and have incredible peace of mind knowing that your gear is safe. Next in the lineup, we have the Nanuk 933. This is the girthiest case that I have, whereas the other two cases were very long. This one's very deep. And the reason I went with this one for the underwater housing is because it solved a very practical issue for me. This Aquatech housing, which houses my GH5, is extremely prone to scratches, right? This lens you don't want to touch with anything, even your fingers, because if you put scratches in it, then that'll show up on camera. So, one of the issues I was having is while trying to put my camera in this housing, I was always like balancing it on my knees awkwardly. And while this is doable, it's not ideal. There's a lot of room for error. And so what this case allowed me to do is fit the case in this way. So now I'm hands-free with the case, with the underwater housing. I can stick my camera in the housing, tweak with the settings, set everything up. Then I can come over here, seal all the latches, pinch some of the foam while I'm at it. And then bam, I'm ready to go. So in addition to being very protective for my gear, it's just a very practical application that reduces error and damage. And I also have a video about this case specifically. It's a tutorial of how to set up your foam. So check that out. I'll link to it below. Now here's another lens port. Nanuk has these incredible little pouches, the best I've seen anywhere, for just random gear and such. You can even stick a laptop here if you want. And everything seals perfectly. And you have the same great latches that are fully lockable, and now I am starting to sound like a salesman, but I find that feature really awesome. Last but not least, we have the Nanuk 923. This is a case that's specifically designed for 15-inch laptops. And so it's got this inner padding with lots of pockets that you can throw all kinds of chargers and things in. You could throw a notebook or a mouse in this case. It comes with a protective sleeve that gives you even more goodness. And I store my 15-inch MacBook in here, MacBook Pro. With this case specifically, I decided, you know, I threw a couple of my cases into the ocean. Let's play around with a river. And so I packed my computer in this case, and I got a little cocky. I sealed everything up, and I threw it with my left hand. I miscalculated, and so before it fell in the river, it actually fell dab smack in the middle on top of a log. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that's not good. And so this case literally fell off a little cliff, smashed onto a log, and then fell in the river. And I was like, ooh, biting my fingernails because I didn't know. Was my computer ruined? Did I just sink $4,000 worth of computing power? So I went and fished it out of the river, and zero damage. Zero moisture, zero damage. Computer still works fine. Once again, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, if I'm... I don't know what else to say. All of these cases are incredibly well built and have time and time again proven their utility to me. And so that's why I'm making this video, because somebody out there might find it helpful. You know, might help out a production team somewhere, might help out an individual somewhere that is traveling and wants to protect their stuff. I think that's about everything I have to say on this subject. This video is already a little bit longer than I would like, but I just kind of went for it and talked honestly. On this channel, I only plug and review things that I find useful myself, that I myself believe in and use, and certainly these cases are that. So I hope you found this helpful. For more videos just like this, but totally different, subscribe to this channel, Butanko Films.